Hi guys and welcome back to the Saints View channel, Southampton content for our match preview and predicted lineup video ahead of another away trip. This time we're off to Newcastle for hopefully the first win in a while. Before we get into it though, do make sure you've hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet already. Very close now to 3,000 subscribers. The sooner we hit it, the better. Follow us on all of our socials too. And as always, this video is kindly sponsored by the guys over at Pitchsport. Make sure you download that app if you haven't yet already. Link is in the description. Right, let's get into it. Now, as always, talking about the last game, just didn't go to plan, did it? I mean, there are loads of excuses that we can conjure up, and I think some of them are valid, but another very heavy defeat. This time at Manchester United, away from home. I didn't see it coming. I didn't think we'd win the game. I didn't even think we'd get a point really. I think I was a bit optimistic to think we'd come away with a draw, but to go 10 men, or go down to 10 men, I should say, after, was it 70 seconds? You know, Yankovic's getting his debut. Shame for him, but at the same time, what was he thinking? It's just ridiculous. Apologies, there was no match review. I don't even think any of you guys would have wanted to watch one. But yeah, didn't see it coming. And I think as soon as he came off, we all knew we were in for a bit of a pummeling. But I think there were other factors as well. At 4-0, obviously Shea scored. Perfectly good goal, ruled offside. I don't know how, by VAR. Another bad refereeing decision, or VAR decision I should say, after the capitulation against Villa. And at 4-1, you know, I don't think we would have gone on to concede another 5 goals. I think if we'd lost that game 4-1 with 10 men on the pitch for basically the whole game, I think we would have taken that. I know it's a heavy defeat, but I think we would have all taken that. And then obviously ruled out Bednarek penalty and the red card and all that ridiculous affairs, I should say. Try not to swear. With Mike Dean, go on and concede a couple more. And yeah, it's a hard one. But I don't think it's nearly as bad as the Leicester defeat last season. I saw some people on Twitter saying it feels worse than that. I don't really know how. It doesn't feel worse than that. I mean, I won't go into it because, to be honest, I'd rather put the result behind us. But I just thought that was absolutely ridiculous. It's not nearly as bad. We're still 12th in the league. We're knocking on the door of the top half. We just have to find, a few good results to pick ourselves back up. And obviously we need those good results sooner rather than later. That takes me nicely onto looking ahead. Let's not look behind us. Let's look ahead to our game at Newcastle tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not too sure what to think about this one. I think it's a good opportunity to pick up 3 points. Generally, we'll obviously talk about Newcastle in a bit, but for me, I think it's a really good opportunity that we absolutely have to take. I think even a point isn't good enough. 4 consecutive defeats in the league, 1 win in 7, is it, in the league? It's just not good enough. 6 or 7 in the league. We really need those 3 points. We've been crashing down the table, and to think we're in the bottom half. Given how well we've played at times this season, to think we're in the bottom half of the table, it's not good enough. It's a shame. But then history doesn't favour us in this fixture. We haven't won there since 2015. I think 1 win at St James's Park in 15 meetings in the Premier League, something like that. Lost our last 3 trips there since Newcastle were promoted. It doesn't sit for pretty reading. But of course, this isn't a season like any other. No fans. Away teams seem to be doing better at the moment. Maybe there is a opportunity there for 3 points, and I think there is. We've got a few players coming back from injuries, which is a massive boost. Ralph said that Vestergaard is a maybe. If he can play, that'd be huge for us because we've been desperate for him to come back. Walker-Peters isn't quite there yet, but hopefully he can come back soon. Who else was it? Romeu's back. We've got Minamino now, who could make his debut, which is good because Armstrong's injured. So yeah, we could have a couple of players back, which is a big boost. But the last time against Newcastle, we did very well. 2-0 win. I think it should have been more. Very comfortable evening in the end, and we actually went top of the league. Mad to think that we're meeting them in 12th place now, just a couple months later. But that's how it is in the Premier League at the moment, and we just need to pick ourselves back up because it's been a bad run, and now we kind of have to look ahead. And I think we have to use the Man United defeat like we did with the Leicester one. Use it as a turning point. Use it as a point of where the upturn begins, because we've shown it when we've got a fully fit side. We're one of the best teams in the league. There's no doubt about it. We've just got to pick ourselves up, I think. So and hopefully we can do that against Newcastle, because we've got a massive game on Thursday night in the cup, and then no easy task of hosting Chelsea in the league after that. Or sorry, we've got Wolves in the league as well, and then Chelsea after that. So 2 really difficult league games as well as a difficult cup game. So this is a big period for us. This is a big period in our season, I think. But let's talk about Newcastle, because generally speaking, like I said, I think we need to be looking to win this one. Unimpressive this season, 16th, 22 points from 22 games. They had a really poor winless run, actually. I think it was 11 or 12 games that was ended last weekend against Everton, but they still went on to lose against Palace midweek at home. It's just not going their way right now. I think Steve Bruce has kind of been found out a little bit. Poor tactics, just a bit of naivety. And like I said, I say it, but we obviously have to see what happens in the game. But I just think it's a massive opportunity that we have to take. But of course, I'm no expert on Newcastle, so I got a bit of insight from Kate from the Magpie channel. Of course, we're always going to have them come on. And we had a little chat about Newcastle, where it's gone wrong, where it's gone right on the few occasions, and how he's feeling ahead of the game. Right then, on to the opposition preview part of the video. Ahead of our trip up to Newcastle, the longest away trip of the season. Luckily, the fans aren't doing it this time. I've got Keg over from the Magpie channel, continuing our good relationship with the best fan channel in Newcastle. Mate, how are you doing?
Very well, mate. Thank you very much for that intro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, obviously got to keep friends close, and you guys definitely are friends of the channel now. Obviously you're on here to talk about Newcastle. Yeah, what's gone wrong? 16th, 22 points from 22 games. What's not happened this season?
Steve Bruce, simple as that. It's just awful football, mate. Awful football. Like, in terms of the squad, as a fan base, we're relatively happy with the personnel. Like, if we can field our strongest, our best, our favourable starting 11, it's a fantastic 11. It's just the fringe players that aren't the greatest. Like, we've had injury troubles quite a few this season. Our key players, Sir Maximin, Ryan Fraser. So we've been just trying a few other things, but when it's Steve Bruce trying a few other things, it just doesn't work. Like, the guy is an absolute dinosaur. He hasn't got a clue about how to get the best out of his players. He doesn't know his best formation. Like, he's been in the job for 19 months. He's like, we play like right back bingo. Like, every week we've got a different right back. It's like Wheel of Fortune, spin the wheel. What's the dial going to land on? Like, we've just lost one in DeAndre Yedlin, so that's minimising a couple of options there. But yeah, like the football has just been dreadful throughout December and January. Each game, like, we went on a 11-game streak without a win, 1 or 2 lucky draws, but mainly losses. And it was coming to boiling point. I understand Steve Bruce should never have been the manager in the first place. It was always Mike Ashley was the problem. He always has and always will be the key problem. But the style of football Steve Bruce has been implementing, it's non-excusable. And we're just getting suckered in. We started the season okay. I had a few decent results. Lately, it's just gone massively downhill. We know Steve Bruce probably isn't going to go anywhere, because that's where the hierarchy wants him to be. He's got no interest in finishing 12th, 13th, 16th, 17th. As long as we're in the Premier League, that's good enough. And that's why we're not happy, because we know change isn't going to come. And if a change does come, it'll be on par. We're never going to get another Rafa Benitez in the Mike Ashley era. We need this takeover to happen as soon as possible for any hope. That's the thing. Like, we're not asking for top 4. We're not asking for miracles. We just want hope. Like, we played bad football under Rafa, but at least we were getting 10th. We finished 10th, 13th. That's not too bad. That's as good as it can be under Mike Ashley, because we're not getting the funds. We're not getting anything. But under Steve Bruce, there's no hope. It's all gone. But we've brought in a new coach. The assistant from Bournemouth joined us a couple of weeks ago. And in his first game, we got a brilliant 2-0 away win at Everton. Best game of the season. And you could see Graham Jones on the sideline doing as much as Steve Bruce has done in 19 months. We've seen pictures in training. He's got the lads in a circle. He's got the tactics out. You've seen it at Goodison Park. He was on the sidelines giving instructions, shouting, while Steve Bruce stood with his hands in his pockets. We lost on Tuesday night against Crystal Palace, but it was a disappointing loss, like, because we're actually the better team. It's the only game this season where we had 60+% possession. Usually we have around 30 to 35. And that's the boring thing. No possession, no chances. On Tuesday, sorry, we had 21 shots and 60% possession. That's the best we've played all season, but unfortunately, the points still didn't come. So hopefully, with Graham Jones, we can progress a little bit more. Hopefully, it can be a bit of a better season. We only got the one signing in January and Joe Willock, so we'll see how the rest of the season goes, but it's probably still not going to be great. Like where we are now, 16th, that's probably where we'll end up finishing.
Well, obviously, let's look ahead to Saturday's game. You host Saints, who come into this with 4 league defeats in a row. Okay, we've had 2 FA Cup wins recently as well. But on the whole, what have you kind of made of Saints this season? I guess since we came, or you guys came down to our place and didn't really show anything in a 2-0 defeat for you guys. What have you made of us since then?
Well, we spoke before that game, and you were top of the league. You were playing some great football. We spoke before, and I said, like, I've been a massive fan of Southampton for a long time, really, but particularly these last couple of years. Like, with the likes of Ward-Prowse and Danny Ings, like, these are a really, really good team. Like, we're a big fan of Hasenhüttl as well. The way he's come on over the last 12 months has been amazing. Like, we could only dream of having a Hasenhüttl in our team. Like, if we made a video on our channel a couple of months ago, if Steve Bruce was to leave, we put Hasenhüttl in the hat, but he wouldn't leave a team like Southampton to come to Newcastle. Like, you played some good football. Yeah, you're on a bad run. You got embarrassed bad on Tuesday, but it's not as bad as all that. Like, you lost to some good teams like Villa, Leicester, Arsenal. Good teams. Like, that's not so bad. So, yeah, like, it seems like you're in a bit of a rut at the minute. Like, you've fallen hard since November, since you were top of the league. Yeah, we're now 12th. Like, that's quite a hard fall, but I believe in you. Like, you've got a lot of injury problems as well. Like, once you get your key players back, like Vestergaard, Walker-Peters, Ings is in a little bit of a rut, but he's a top class striker. Once he gets his shooting boots back on, you'll be fine. I've got no worries about that.
Well, of course, keeping on the subject of Saturday's game, we spoke on the Magpie channel, your channel, about how, what was it? Was it we haven't won? Well, we lost our last 3 trips to St James's, but 1 win. Was it in 15?
Yeah, 11 for Newcastle, 5 draws, 1 win for Southampton.
That's as bad as it's been at any ground in the Premier League. So obviously we'll try and make amends for that one. But who do you see as being the key player for Magpies this Saturday? Because for me, as an outsider, looking at Callum Wilson, fresh off a brace last weekend, I mean, his former side Bournemouth, their fans will try and argue that there's a derby and there's a rivalry with Saints, and he might want to have an extra bit of incentive to score against us. But who do you see as the key player?
Probably is Callum Wilson. Like, he's been a key player for us this season. Our 2 key players this season have been Callum Wilson, who's got 10 Premier League goals in February, which for Newcastle standards over the last few years, pretty much since the Demba Ba and Papi Cisse days, before that, the Alan Shearer days, that's a long time. Like, we've been missing a striker who can put the ball in the back of the net. We've really struggled over the last couple of seasons for a player like him. So he's been a massive breath of fresh air. 10 goals is amazing at this point in the season for our standards. 2 great goals against Everton. And good performances. He always puts in a performance. Like, in what's been a bad, disappointing season for us, like, there's been a lot of players we can point a finger at and say, you need to be better, you're not consistent enough, or in general, you're just shit. But Callum Wilson hasn't been that. Even in games we've been dreadful, way too defensive, where he doesn't even get a sniff. Like, I feel sorry for strikers at Newcastle. Like, you can look at Joe Linton last season. He took a lot of stick, but he's not a striker. And the opportunity he was getting like half a chance a game. He's not a striker. The chances he was getting, he was, of course, missing. Like, but when you're not getting the opportunities, that's where you worry as a striker. So even in the games where Wilson wasn't getting much of a chance, he was coming back. Like, he's a good player. He's strong on the ball. I think people just look at him as like a bit of a goal poacher, a good finisher in the box, but we've forced him to come out of the box this season and show what he's about. Like, he's good at holding up the plate. He's strong. He's quick. He's got everything. Like, he's an absolute fantastic number 9, the best we've probably seen since Shearer. If only we could get a little bit more service to him, then 10 goals could have been doubled if he had the service. So Carl Darlow's been good. The last couple of games, he's been a little bit ropey. I think, like Martin Dubravka, he's been our key player for the last couple of seasons. He's back fit now, settling for a place on the bench. I think Darlow's place is 50-50 now. He's got to keep the performances up if he doesn't want to get replaced, because if Dubravka's there, he'll lose it if he slips up. We've got Sir Maximin coming back from injury. I don't know if he's ready to start yet. I hope he is, because he could be a massive player for us. He's came off the bench for the last 4 games. Prior to that, he was missing for 9 weeks, 7 to 9 weeks. So if he's back, he's obviously our danger man. Ryan Fraser and Miggy Almiron's performances have been good over the last couple of weeks. So we've got a couple there, but yeah, Wilson's the first name on the team sheet. Like, Fraser, you're not sure about. Sir Maximin, you're not sure about. But if there's one player you can't be certain isn't going to lose his place, is Callum Wilson.
And finally, mate, to wrap up, how confident are you for the game, and can we get a score prediction out of you?
Not confident at all. I never am with Newcastle. As I said before, like, I'm a big fan of Southampton. You just play some good football when you're on, when you're turned on, when the players are fit and firing. Like the 2-0 result in November was a fair reflection. Like, you're the better team when you've got the players fit and available. So I don't know, because we spoke before about your injury problems and the suspensions that you've got. We're not sure if Vestergaard might come back. We're not sure how Danny Ings will perform. That could be the big question. Like, if Graham Jones has his way and plays his style of football instead of Steve Bruce's style of football, if we play the right formation with the right personnel, like you say, the last 2 games since Graham Jones has come in, we have been playing well. Like, we got the Everton win. We were the better team against Crystal Palace by a mile. So it's 50-50. Like, I'm not confident, but I think if we can get a point against yous, I'd take that right now, because, like I say, you are a very good team and we'll expect a big reaction from you after the 9-0 defeat on Tuesday. So it's going to be a tough game. I'll optimistically say 2-1 to Newcastle, but realistically, me head's telling me 1-1.
Once again, I do appreciate you coming on, mate. Thank you so much for that. I'll leave the link in the description below. Right, onto the predicted lineup part of the video. And this is a little bit more optimistic, which I'm delighted about. In goal, of course, Alex McCarthy. There's no doubt about that, despite the result on Tuesday night. Back 4, Bertrand at left back. Personally, I think we're going to see Kane Ramsey again. If Vestergaard's available, there's a possibility that we might play Stevens at right back, because he's done that before. And then, of course, Bednarek next to Vestergaard. So I'm going to be optimistic and say Vestergaard will start, but I think we might keep Ramsey. I thought, in fairness, his first half wasn't that bad, actually, given the fact that he hadn't played top-flight football in over 2 years. And he's kind of been out of the dark, really, in terms of the first team. So I think he did all right. Obviously conceded way too many goals, but it was a really difficult task for him, and I think he did okay. And I think against Newcastle on Saturday, if he is to start, he could do well. We'll have to see. In the midfield, I'd like to see Aurel Romeu back in there if we are welcoming him back. Had a great game against Villa. Shame that he came off injured, but hopefully he's all right to play and start from the off, because we've got no other midfielder besides Ward-Prowse, who would obviously partner him. On the right, I think we're going to see a debut for Minamino. Haven't seen any pictures of him in training yet, but Ralph has confirmed he's fit and available. And with no Armstrong, I don't see why we wouldn't be playing him, and no Walcott either. On the left, I think Nathan Redmond didn't start against United. Gineppo did, so that gives me the indication that that Redmond will be playing. I thought against Villa for the 90 minutes, he was excellent. I thought he came into the side and looked really good, actually, which obviously I'm delighted about. And then up front, probably the easiest decision right now, Shay Adams and Danny Ings. Need them both to get back to form, because they've not been scoring lately, and we rely on them, very simply put. They need to find the back of the net, and I back one of them to score on Saturday, actually. I think Shay or Ings will break their goal ducks. But that is it for the video. If you have enjoyed it, leave it a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already. Let me know in the comment section below how you're feeling ahead of the game and your score predictions. For me, I'm going to go confident and go for a 2-1 win. I think it'll be tight, but I think we'll just see it over the line. Follow us on all of our socials as well, and we'll see you after the game for a match review, hopefully reporting on a big 3 points. Take it easy, guys.